Welcome to the Forging Podcast, where our mission is to forge guys into godly husbands, fathers, men, and leaders in their communities. We push out of our comfort zone, face our fears, and grow stronger every day. We strive to be selfless providers, dangerous protectors, loving husbands, fathers, and friends. I hope you all enjoy the podcast. Hey guys, welcome back to the Forging Podcast. We've been sitting here talking about challenging ourselves a little more. Last podcast we were talking about being the leader in our home and how that's so important for the future of our kids and everything too. They're going to see how we lead and how we do things, and a lot of those attributes will be carried on in their adulthood. And how it's so important for us to lead with honor. And Blake's yelling at me for not talking. I'm sorry if I'm all over the place with my microphone. Once again, I move a lot.
He's got to keep his hands on it, too.
Blake yelled at me for being in it and out of it and in it and out of it. So I will try harder to maintain my distance from the microphone.
Both hands on the microphone.
Yeah, I'm going to tie it to my face, but at the right distance to where it gets the perfect audio.
Yeah.
I'll do my best. Sorry, guys. Give me a break. But
that's a t-shirt idea in the Forging Podcast, and it's just got the quotation marks, talking to the mic, Jared.
Talking to the mic, Jared. I do want to do some merch. I want to get into some merch stuff, so that's something we need to think about.
Well,
let us know if you guys think that'd be kind of cool.
10 people listening to this, so get us 10 shirts.
Hey, whatever. You got to start somewhere. We got more than 10 people.
Selling for $1,000.
$100. Hey, I love shirts and stickers and hats and all that. So, you know what? If nobody buys it, I'll have it for myself, and that is just fine. Oh, yeah, I did make some stickers.
Got my sticker.
Did I give you a sticker yet?
No.
I just made some quick cheapy ones.
Well,
Sticker Mule had a deal, so I'm like, They're like, oh, the quality's too low. Are you sure you really want to print these? I'm like, print it anyways. I don't care. And it's not amazing, but it's
the quality of the picture. Is that what it's saying?
Yeah. But it's good enough for a start. I just wanted to see if we even liked it and wanted to carry on that logo or not, because I've been kind of thinking about branding and how important it is. And Andrew Young, he knows a lot about that because he's in the audiovisual world and branding, whatever. And he said we really need something that, even if the name isn't there, they know who it is. Like, Warrior Poet Society's got that shield. And it's like, you see that shield and it's like, I know what that is.
Yeah.
So I've been kind of thinking about branding, and it may not even matter. It's not like we have millions of people listening to us, but maybe one day we will. But
it's just the early episodes. I mean, yeah. I'm already getting Brett's autograph, so
I know I need to get Brett's autograph too, just because
I'm a big deal.
How much do you charge per autograph, Brett?
I don't know.
$75.
$75 an autograph. Oh man. But yeah, so it's interesting because before we turn the mics on, you guys were talking about a challenge. What was that challenge you're talking about? And with the Murph challenge?
Yeah.
And you asked if I did it, and if you've seen me, you'd be like, he doesn't do any of that. Obviously.
You can do it and take all day if you need to.
Oh, there's no like a time frame to try to meet?
No. People race doing it, I think it's kind of a big deal. They have a big race in Russellville.
Really?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
I think it's one of those things that's kind of like triathlons and marathons. It's like you've got the top tier people who really want to win it.
Yeah.
Like they want to be the one who came in first place. But you've got probably the vast majority of people their goal is like, my goal is to complete that.
Yeah.
Like I have not done that. That's a challenge for me to complete. Yeah. And so it doesn't matter if I come in dead last. The fact that I did it is what mattered.
Yeah. And it's like a honor thing to Mike Murphy.
Yeah.
On Memorial Day.
Right.
That's the way I understood it.
Okay, so explain to me what the Murph challenge is.
Who is Murphy?
Yeah,
Mike Murphy was a SEAL who was killed in Operation Red Wings. Have y'all seen the movie or read the book, The Lone Survivor?
Yeah.
You know, the guy who went up on the rock and made the call, said we
Okay.
got troops in contact.
Okay.
That was Mike Murphy.
Oh, okay. Starting to make sense.
Is he like from around here, or they just?
No, he's from New York.
Yeah, this is like a
it's just-
nationwide
yeah, it's
sort of
just a-
challenge thing. Yeah.
Okay, so the Murph
he's an
Challenge is a
American
nationwide.
hero,
Oh.
and it's like it was his workout, and people do it on Memorial's Day to honor him.
Huh.
Yep.
See, I have no clue.
Yeah.
I'm not caught up with all the
Well, I'll try to make an American out of you before it's over.
I moved to Alabama, and all of a sudden I have to be an American.
I knew the
What's
movie. I
next?
just didn't know.
I have to learn the lingo, be an American. You know, I might just move back to Florida where I can be a heathen.
Be
communist.
Be complacent,
Yeah, good
complacent communist.
What's so funny is that like Florida's like just at this point in time in history is like shining as one of the
Yeah, I know.
freest, most American states. You know? It's like-
That's why I moved away. No,
and still not good enough for Alabama standards.
I guess not. They talk too plainly and too clearly.
Nobody
and-
knows about Northwest Alabama.
Good grief.
Just the way we like it.
All right, so what is it that you got to do? What are the tasks that you have to accomplish to the Murph Challenge?
You have to run a mile, do 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats, run another mile.
I mean, I'm breaking a sweat just hearing you say that.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of made out like I'm a veteran doing this. This was my first year to do it.
So you did it.
Yeah,
Did all of it.
all of it.
That's why you're such a studly man.
Well, if you would have seen me on that last mile, you would not have said I did not look studly. I was shuffling down through there. I couldn't even. My legs were just toast.
Limp noodle.
And you did that on Memorial Day?
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say you should have called me, but I was working Memorial Day. Some people work. You
Well,
know, they don't always have to have every holiday off. I was honoring our veterans that have given their lives for us by working.
I hear you.
And I'm proud to be an American.
America.
Where at least I know.
Yeah, but that's that's something that I listen to some podcasts where guys do a lot of running, a lot of long distance activities, biking, running, kayaking, whatever. And I'm like, why? Why? What is the point? But as I'm growing with this spiritual journey of mine, I'm realizing that I'm becoming fatter and lazier and more useless. And I'm kind of getting to a point where I want to start challenging myself. And I mean, I know I can put crazy long hours in with work, no matter what the intensity of it is. But I find like during hunting season is a good example of me being fat and lazy. Like I'd go down the hill into the shooting house. I'd wait for deer, whatever. I'd get up early, wait for deer to either come out or not, shoot it, if not, whatever. But on my way back up to the house, I've got to walk up this hill, I don't know, 150 yards. By the time I get to the top, my legs are on fire and I'm out of breath. I'm like, this is ridiculous. That's sad to walk that far. And I could walk on flatland forever, but walking up a stupid little hill. And like living here in hill country, like this is a great place to train for a lot of different things. Yeah, they get you quick, man. And
Even go play around the golf out at Pikeville and walk it.
For real,
Walk 18 at Pikeville. Like you can walk the old 9 at Pikeville and it's relatively flat. Walk 18 out there, which I've done.
tough. Yeah.
it's tough going on a golf cart. You're afraid you're going to wreck the thing in some of them areas. There's some steep hills out there. I know growing up, I went and I did golf school a couple times in the summertime when I was a kid, and because my dad loved golf. But when we'd go play at Bobby Jones Golf Course in Sarasota, and we would walk 9 holes. He's like, I'm not playing 18 holes. And by the time I got done, I wanted to play the rest of the 9, but we'd always walk it because, once again, I ain't going to spend the money on a cart. So, he's being a tightwad too, but it was good. But, walking that flat ground down there in Sarasota, I mean, you ain't got really any hills at all. And not really nothing to it, but I couldn't imagine walking 9 holes here. Or even
I
18.
walked up those hills, toting my bag and everything at Pikeville. Man,
Yeah,
yeah, them are some steep
that'll
ones.
Mhm.
up
make
there.
a man out of you. Good grief. But so then I've been thinking, like, I kind of want to start doing something to better my health and challenge myself again, I guess, or further. And watching or listening to the one podcast where they're always hiking and doing things, and they have this challenge where it's walking for 24 hours through the hills in Georgia, and you
That's a
can't
big
sit
one.
down. Like you stop for food breaks and water breaks, but then you go right back at it, walking through these trails.
But you're awake for 24 hours.
oh yeah, there's no
walking.
sleeping. Like you stay
can't sit
awake.
down.
You can't even sit down.
Wow.
Yeah, like you have to walk it and be awake and the whole nine. And some people might be like, come on. I mean, I know like when we go to Florida, I'll get up in the morning, 5, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, whatever, and work all day, come home, eat supper, hang out around the house. And then, sometimes 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock, depending what time I feel like it, we're just like, all right, let's just load up and go. Cause I ain't gonna be able to sleep ahead of time. When I know I'm doing something like that, I can't sleep. So I'm gonna be up either way. So I'm like, let's just load up and go. So then we drive another 11 hours to Florida. So I'm up over 24 hours at the point of time we finally get to Florida. It's like, I can do a 24-hour thing, but can I hike? And some people might think, well, that's stupid. And but it kind of just gets into, we've got to challenge ourselves. We kind of become lazy.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's like, if it's
Kind
too
of.
hard,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, no, we've really become lazy. It's like, if it's too hard, what's the point? I'm not going to do that. I can get in my truck and drive where I need to. But it's like, health-wise, I want to live a long, healthy life. And as of right now, drinking McDonald's diabetes tea, that's not really helping me,
I
and
don't really care to live a long life necessarily. But what I want to do, I want to live.
Yeah.
I want to get the most out of this life, And one of the different ways that I look at life now since Jesus is you don't have to be afraid of the future. You don't have to be afraid of what's going to come up. This whole life is an adventure
yeah,
that you're going through with him. And whenever you look at it like that, it is so freeing, and I don't necessarily think it's important spiritually or whatever. I know some rock solid guys that have a great relationship with the Lord who don't work out, and and that's fine. For me, it helps me feel better, and it's a confidence. It helps your confidence. It helps. I think in some cases, it may help the respect that somebody else looks at you with. But it's more as far as I don't know. It's just kind of important to me. One of the things for me that it's important is I think it's important for me to be strong.
Yeah.
Physically strong.
Yeah. Well, that goes back into the protecting your family.
Yeah.
If you're a fat
Even
schlub,
Even though you're far more likely to have to protect your family spiritually.
Absolutely.
That's a 100% guaranteed.
That's
fight.
going to
Yeah.
happen.
and I think that's something
going to
that
happen.
I think that's a podcast we need to do too, is on spiritual warfare. And,
I may never, probably, most likely, will never have to protect my family with a gun.
we hope not. Yeah.
Yeah, we hope not. But I still think it's important that I have the skills to be able to do that.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Well, I think too, even probably a little more practical, because all of us have young kids here. If I'm 200 pounds overweight and, we're out at a state park or something like that, or at a pool, and my kid falls in the water or falls, down a hill or something like that, or something's after my kid, and I've got to be able to run over there and get my kid or, have to like hold back an animal or something like that. Like say a dog's attacking my daughter,
Yeah. Now
am I going to be able to go over there and hold that dog back while my kid gets to safety?
Yeah.
And that's
be able to be strong enough and have enough endurance to be able to physically protect my child, even, to be able to swim out there into the middle of that pool, grab my kid and swim back, holding my kid's head above water in the other arm. Am I able to do that? Because, I mean, as men, it feels to me like if we're not in good enough physical shape to save our child's life, then we're in the wrong spot.
Yep.
That's interesting about the dog thing too.
That's
because
exactly what I was trying to relay. Thank you for that.
That because like the dog thing, for instance, we have so many wild dogs around here that people just dump off, and that's a realistic thing. To deal with a wild dog.
Yeah, like hopefully I never have to fight a man who is attacking my children, but for my child, for a kid to, catch a cramp, swimming in the river or something,
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Very
like that's
likely.
a lot more realistic,
Well, and even for, the people in Florida that listen, like when I lived in Florida, one of the realities was rip current. And that was something that you really had to pay attention to because I had friends that got taken out to sea because of rip current. And knowing how to swim with it in a way that you can get back to land safely. But also, if you're not in shape, you ain't fighting it. You're not going to get anywhere with it. You're going to be.
This is off subject, but did y'all hear about that guy who got lost not too long ago? He was down there in the Gulf and got pulled out. He was in a kayak. Did y'all hear about that?
No, I
don't think so. No.
Well,
tell the tale.
What happened? Yeah.
Tell the tale, brother.
well, he just got lost. The whole reason for me bringing that up is because I played against that guy in high school. But he was a football coach somewhere now. He is his name was Chris Smelly. But he was a quarterback at South Carolina years ago. But anyway, he got caught in a rib current, I guess.
Yeah.
And it pulled him out over the horizon. And I believe in the interview, he said he fought it as long as he could. And then he realized he wasn't getting anywhere and he was just gassing out. So he just quit.
Yeah.
And the Coast Guard found him.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long was he out there?
Dead.
Do you remember how long he was out there?
I want to say he was out there over 24 hours because he was, everybody thought he was dead.
Yeah.
I even told Courtney, I said, I'm sure he's drowned.
Well, in a kayak, you should be somewhat okay unless
you
bad storm rolls
yeah.
in.
But, if you hadn't found your way back, either you've got turned around and you don't know, you've got over the horizon, you don't know which way to go to get back to land, but over 24 hours, you think eventually you could get back.
Yeah.
But he didn't.
And in most cases like that, there was an accident of some kind. Too.
Yeah,
like you got rolled over, got an injury of some kind, got separated from the kayak, and couldn't swim long enough. Your body wears out and you drown.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense.
That's usually how those stories go.
Yeah.
I mean, it's usually not just, I floated out here and I'm still just afloat and hopefully things will be all right. It's like even in the span of 24 hours, you can panic. You can
panic is what does it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and even storms that roll in like they do out there, that wind can blow them storms in pretty quick. And before you know it, you got 2, 3, 4 foot seas. And in a kayak, it's going to be hard to maintain stability.
And if you wear yourself out from trying to fight against it, and then you have no water to drink, so then you get dehydrated and you can pass out and you can just roll over in that kayak. I mean, you can't balance a kayak while you're unconscious.
Yeah, that's why it's important to be wearing a life vest when you're out in the sea. I mean, I don't wear one in the river, but I'm not going to go in a river that's ripping either. Like if the river's pumping hard, I'm not going to get down in there and play that game. But
even that, I mean, it's like shark attacks are way overplayed, and stuff. But you're floating out in the Gulf for hours on end, just floating out there, even with the life vest on, and stuff.
On a desert of water.
Yeah,
yeah.
Wouldn't take nothing for a few sharks to be coming by and one nip you, and then that blood's in the water, and then it's just
that's true.
It's just over.
You do think about that when you're swimming out there. I've swam out in the Gulf. I used to have a boat, and me and my stepbrother would go out after we get off of work sometimes, or on the weekends we'd take our friends, whatever. But we'd go catch some bait, some pinfish, some squirrelfish or something, use them for bait, and get our lines out in the water, get them soaking, and then while we first get those out, we go swim for a minute, and it's like It's like we just got poles set out to bring sharks in, and here we are swimming. I never got bit, thank God.
They don't want you though.
We've caught some nice sharks.
So what we're saying, man, is if you're not physically fit enough to swim from the middle of the Gulf back to land, then you're wrong.
falling.
Well, I was in a boat. All I had to do was swim. I mean, it's not like I
You're in
jumped out of my boat and then went 200 yards from my boat. I was right by it. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never got bit, thank God. Use wisdom.
Yeah, also strong enough to fight the sharks when they come.
Yeah.
If you can't manhandle a shark, are
What are
you
you
even a
doing?
man? Yeah, exactly.
Well, I tell you, the best thing to do too is if you're going to go fishing for shark or for any kind of fish, really out in the water, bring somebody that gets seasick, because that's the best chum you can. Oh, Brett's fixing to get.
Stop.
I have done some of my best fishing with chummers.
Does Brett? Does the Murph challenge help with the queasy stomach?
No.
No.
Oh.
But you even going back to you talking about the the challenge where you do the hike and you're
Yeah.
up for 24 hours and you don't sit down. I mean, for me personally, like that sounds like an awesome challenge.
It sounds fun.
Actually,
do
like
it.
I would love to do that. Like
Go
I
do
feel
it.
like I might.
Yeah, you have to send in an application, and they have to
Yeah.
approve you.
Yeah.
But I mean, what they're saying is like you're going to learn a lot about yourself and who you are in doing that and what
Yeah.
you're capable of.
They
And-
talk about it like there's this big something that happens. I don't know. I don't know what they're talking about, but
Yeah, I don't know either. And I kind of dismiss it as this is a waste of time and a waste of effort. I could be doing other things like my dad. He's always, well, this is a waste of my time. I could be working making money.
Yeah.
Life is about more than
Life
just
could
making
be
money.
sweet.
Though you got to make money to survive. I mean, it's necessary, but it's fun to go out and challenge yourself and do different things. And I don't know. It's just kind of something that I've been thinking about is starting to do just something just to
Yeah.
better my health and
Start
better
small.
myself. Because I've also noticed that my energy levels, I don't know what happened. Like all of a sudden, I just feel like they're dropping off, and I'm like, if I get home, I don't want to do anything. I just want to sit down and relax, and I get tired, and I want to take a nap, and it's like I'm this fat, lazy slob, and I need to stop.
Well, you find out you get more energy too. It's weird because it seems like you're like,
Yeah.
well, I'm expressing more energy by exercising or whatever. So
Yeah, we
you
get
seem like you'd get less energy, but you actually get more energy. It's
Yeah.
like I mean, I'm sure there's some science behind it and everything. I don't know if it's just your endorphins or what it is,
Yeah.
but it's like once you start exercising, well, first of all, your body gets stronger, so you're able to do more anyway. But it's like you just have this desire. It's like it's the a body in motion stays in motion sort of deal. It's like you just want to keep going.
Yeah,
And so I'd just say start small. It's like, and I'd incorporate it into, personally for me, it's better incorporate something like that into a morning routine instead of an evening routine.
yeah,
Because I mean, and especially when you can start small and you just start off with like hey, you know what, I'm going to get up. First thing I do, crack open my scripture or whatever. And then, it's like, even like I'll pray, read a little bit of scripture. Let me just max out on push-ups real quick. Let me just see how many I can do.
Yeah.
Just see how many push-ups I can do. And you can start off with that and just stop there. It's like, okay, well, I did that many push-ups and now I'm going to get back into my Bible reading or whatever and actually do a study here.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then do that the next day and then and do that for like a week. And then the next week it's like, maybe I'll throw in some leg lifts or something,
Yeah.
or maybe some squats or something like that. And just do simple things that you're just, over time you can just kind of increase what you're doing. And I mean, you'd be amazed the results you can see just by like incorporating a small workout with stop eating sugar. I mean,
Man,
honestly,
that's-
that's the other thing. If you just like avoid snack cakes and stuff, like it's like, oh man, you'd be amazed the difference. it'll
I've
make.
thought about doing that carnivore diet for a little bit, just because I know that sugar is it is taken over, man. Like every time I turn around, I got a Dr. Pepper, I got a sweet tea, or
It's the most addictive
something,
thing.
man. It
It's
just
the most. addictive
me and
thing.
Autumn watched.
We are all addicted to sugar, and most of us don't even realize.
Don't
it. We
even know it. Yep.
Yeah.
Me and Autumn watched a documentary the other night about sugar and how bad it is. Where we're like, what are we doing? Like we have to change our diets. It's killing us, and it tears your your energy levels down and
Mhm.
brain
I've
functionality and
noticed that
everything.
with the sugar.
And I
If
think
I get on a cycle of like my thing, have you ever seen those golden Oreos?
Yeah.
I have a weakness for those
Do
things.
you?
Really?
Yeah. So, like, if I get in a cycle to where I eat them, I don't take compared to the rest of America. I don't take in a whole bunch of sugar.
Yeah.
yeah.
But those little things, I have a weakness for those, and I can tell when I eat them, I am more tired throughout the day.
Yeah.
Huh.
Just talking about eating 3 of them after lunch,
What?
I can tell. I can tell I've ate them.
Mine's ice cream.
No, I
That's
like
my
ice cream
sugar,
too.
man. I love ice
What's
cream.
that?
Ice cream's not as bad as those things, though.
Oh, well, good then.
What's that
okay, well,
double
keep going then.
Blake, what's that double cookie Bluebell? It's like cookie 2-step or something like that.
Yeah, that's one of them.
Man, it's like cookie dough and Oreo together. Man,
Yeah.
that's like crack. I get a hold of that, man.
I can tell you one way, the easiest way, at least for me, to cut out some of your sugar intake is start drinking water.
Yeah.
Cut out the Cokes, cut out the sweet tea, and you will cut back your sugar intake tremendously.
hmm
Yeah. I think for me too, I got to cut out the routine of having a sweet drink in the morning because I'll drink like an energy drink or something. You know, supposedly no sugar, no this or that, but
Jared, have you ever heard of a black coffee?
No,
I never heard of her.
this is mine. I was fixing to hit him with this.
Here it goes.
You could.
You know, I'm leaving. You guys
could.
finish this podcast.
You could start acting like a man and
What's-
drink coffee.
I'm still being forged into that. Sorry, Brett. You know, I've got a long ways to go before I become a full-on man.
We'll get him there. He's going to be like, okay, next year, Murph Challenge. The year after that, fight off the pool of sharks. The year after that, black coffee.
Oh, man. Look, I've drank plenty of mud water when I would go mudding with my buddies. Drank plenty of it. And it's more enjoyable than drinking that junk out of the cup. Looks like I dipped it out of my toilet. I don't want it. Look,
I will
the problem
give you,
is
it
I
is
have to
an
put so
acquired
much
taste.
sugar. I have to put so much sugar and stuff in that to make it taste good. Now it's like a syrupy mud water, and it's disgusting. So I don't have to drink it.
This is the Lord's hot bean water, I'll have you know. Okay.
Is it?
So,
Did Jesus drink coffee?
I mean,
They probably drank tea.
They just didn't document it.
yeah.
See, it wasn't that important.
Look, it was a post resurrection blessing. Okay. As part
Do this
of
in
the,
remembrance of me.
it's the
Drink a cup of
beverage it's the
coffee.
beverage of the new kingdom.
We're
Okay?
living in the grace period.
Absolutely.
We have coffee.
Well, thank God for grace. I don't have to drink coffee, and He still loves me.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Wow. You know, if that's what it takes to be a man, I will never be one. Ever.
Don't sell yourself short. You can do it.
I could jump off a cliff too. Probably ain't gonna happen.
Miracles happen every day.
Yeah.
But yeah, what was you thinking as far as?
I don't know. We got off on this coffee topic. I don't even know what I was thinking anymore.
No. I mean, like you said you wanted to get in better shape or
I do.
start working out. What did you have in mind?
I don't know. Well, me and Blake talked at one point about getting backpacks and putting some weights in it and just walking the property because my property's really hilly.
Yeah.
And like during hunting season, I would just grab my rifle and put my bag. I always have a bag I carry that's got knives and different stuff in it for whatever may be happening when I'm hunting. And I just walk through the woods and through the hills, through the creek, up and around. And I mean, that's a pretty good workout.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have 2 acres, but I have access to 38 more. So I got 40 acres to roam and do whatever I want on. And, you know, I like I said, I'd go out there and I'd follow the perimeter of the property, and there's a lot of hill and trees to climb around and brush. And that's a good workout. So I think even starting with stuff like that, like I enjoy being out in nature. Like there's a workout that I do on YouTube, and it's a low impact workout, which sounds sissy, but for me, if I do those those workouts, I can actually cut a lot of weight. I mean, I've cut, 30 pounds in 6 weeks before just by doing them simple workouts. Also adjusting my diet.
Yeah. Especially for men, that's one of the biggest
Yeah.
things for men is like if we just fix our diet some, up your output a little bit more and just lower or even just eat better things. You don't have to eat
You
less.
don't even have to
you just
eat less,
eat better things, and men can lose weight so quick. I mean, especially you just trade out. I mean, if you traded out whatever sugary things you're eating and stuff, I mean, and ate steak instead, you lose weight. I mean,
Well, I have considered doing the carnivore diet just for a short period. It's not, a whole life change I'm going to do, but I might do carnivore and even if it's for, I don't know, 3 weeks, I don't know, just to try it and see what I can do. And then get back on normal food. But once again, cut my carbs and sugar, maybe not 100% out, but way down, especially my sugar.
I mean, you can cut them completely out, but it's not sustainable, and hard. So like what Larry's saying, it don't take a whole lot. If you'll just adjust your diet a little bit and start, even if you just did your walk around the property 3 times a week, you would probably be amazed at what that would do.
Well, and that's it. I need to start doing something and commit to it and just stick with it. Because I started working out. I'm like, I'll do little workouts, get prepared for going to Florida and whatever. And I did it for a few nights, and then life got in the way, and I quit doing it. But I need to do something to stick with it. But for me, it's got to be kind of fun. Yeah. And hiking through the woods, I enjoy.
Yeah,
so it's like add a little something to it by throwing weight on my back.
Yeah,
and doing that. I need to make.
Yeah, if you can enjoy it, that's even better. It's like because I'd mentioned the walk in Pikeville, and I had a buddy I used to work with that was like his exercise. He would do that like 3 times a week. He had a membership out there, and so he would show up in the mornings and just go and he would walk 9 holes as an exercise in the morning, so he was playing golf, he was swinging and everything, and walking, and that was the kind of exercise that he had.
So that's what kind of intrigued me about that one challenge. I forget what the name of the challenge is, but where they do 24-hour hiking. Yeah. Like it's not something so over the top that you have to be like this seasoned veteran in doing, but you also have, and I'm not making light of it either. It is hard and it would be extremely hard. But it's not like they do a 250-mile run. Yeah. Like you have to train
for a year
minimum. Yeah. I don't know what it takes to train for something like that. I'm just saying the 24-hour thing though, it is very hard. I feel like somebody starting out and trying to get into kind of some of that stuff, that would be a more attainable goal than, I'm just going to go do a 250-mile run. Like, that ain't going to happen. I would be dead after the first 30 miles.
They'll be picking you up now.
Yeah, so I'm just saying that, I think that would be kind of a cool thing. It's not something I want to always do, but it's like you're hiking through woods, which is cool, and you're challenging yourself. And I think we need to start challenging ourselves a little bit more.
That's what I was going to hit at a minute ago, is we are so addicted to comfort.
Yes.
In our society, that is one way it can help you, is getting used to being slightly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then you can push into more discomfort and more, even down to reading. How much easier is it to turn on the TV than it is to pick up a book and read? Just push yourself out of your comfort zone. That's what I think men are slacking in terribly, is we are so comfortable and so bored, and as a result, we become boring people.
Absolutely. Well, it's just like, when I've hiked through the woods on my property during hunting season, just that accomplishment, you get done, you're like, man, I got to see all kinds of cool things. Mm-hmm. I got to learn some new trails that the deer are traveling. So you're learning about the property. Especially if you're hunting the land, it's practical in multiple ways. Mm-hmm. And so I got to see new deer trails, new bedding areas, new signs of activity, whatever it may be. But I got a good exercise in, and when it's done, it's like you never know. Like that's what's cool about being here. And we got to see it in Florida too when we go out River Ranch and stuff like that. You get to see cool wildlife and stuff. But here it's everywhere. Even when you're in the city, you're surrounded by tons of trees and stuff,
Yeah.
and but where we're at now, and I can go out on them trails and see a giant hawk or
I nearly hit
cool
2 turkeys on the way
owls.
over.
Yeah, or you have a turkey run across the trail in front of you, or a deer. When we were kayaking, the other day with Blake and them, I heard some crunching coming through the woods. We were coming through this one area. It was kind of low water, but we were just skimming across the top of the rocks and getting through.
Sasquatch.
Sam Squanches. But I heard some crunching in the woods, and I'm like, either maybe somebody might be coming down, or it could be an animal or something. But I'm like, oh, that's cool. I mean, I heard it, but I didn't see anything. So we kept going. Well, I look up, and Autumn's like pointing and all this stuff. I'm like, I don't know. She's saying something to me, but I can't hear because you guys, I don't know, probably 100 yards up, downriver from us. And she's like, finally caught up. She's like, dude, a deer just ran right behind you. I don't know how you didn't hear it. And my hearing is jacked up from years of running grinders and saws and stuff with no ear protection. And so if I have a little bit of sound around me, like paddling, it blocks a lot of surrounding sounds, unless it's really loud.
I've lost some of my hearing too from shooting.
So, but I mean, it's cool. We're kayaking down the river and deer are running right across the river behind us. And I remember last year or year before that, whatever it was, we were kayaking. I watched deer run across the river in between our group. I mean, it's just cool stuff like that.
Yeah.
You get to experience being out, and that's something too. Like with kayaking, I love kayaking, and like Blake was floating, so I was dragging him, and just I'm realizing like that's a good workout, upper body workout.
Oh yeah.
And I would like to do more kayaking. They did 3 to 7 did that 100 and something mile kayak trip. I think that would be amazing.
Yeah, that'd be
and
fun.
it's not easy.
No.
Like it seems like watching them, it's like ain't nothing, but that's a lot of hard work. And they're camping several nights. I forget how many nights they spent camping. It was 5 or 8 days, whatever it was. But like, wouldn't that be insane to just go up in Florence and drop in and just take that down to the Gulf?
True.
And I think
that would be a couple weeks worth of kayaking, probably. I don't know. Or even drop here in Hamilton or further south and just kayak out to the Gulf. Or I was talking to some guys the other day. They're going to take a pontoon boat, I think in the Tom Bigby Waterway, and take it out to the Gulf. Like, how cool is that?
Yeah.
Just to do some quality men time. And I think
not
this is
only
important.
is it, a challenge and stuff, but it's an adventure.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the main things with any of those types of things. It's like you talking about the hiking and stuff. You're getting out into creation.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're getting out into the Lord's territory. You're not surrounded by the things that man created. You're not sitting inside man-made buildings, underneath fluorescent lighting or anything like that. It's like, no, you're by the light of the campfire.
Yeah.
You're by the light of the sun. You're out hearing the creatures that God created.
Yeah.
You're not sanitized in your own little area that you've made safe and everything.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're out in the good creation that is also like a mysterious and dangerous place full of beauty. You
never know what you're
and
going to
it's
come
so
across.
good for you. It's like, not only is it good for your body, it's like you're talking about the kayaking and stuff, like it's like good for your upper body, and the walking's great for just your cardio and great for your legs and all this other stuff. And it's like, and the whole time your soul's being nourished too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
and like Brett was talking about, we're just so addicted to comfort and everything. And Jared, you'd actually let me borrow "Fathered by God" by John Eldridge,
book.
and I'd actually shared. I'd found it and shared a quote. It says, "Until a man learns to deal with the fact that life is hard, he will spend his days chasing the wrong thing, using all his energies trying to make life comfortable, soft, nice." And that is no way for any man to spend his life.
Wow. So what do you take out of that? Like,
I mean, to me, that is the call to challenge yourself there. That is that call that we've believed the lie. It's like you believe the lie that it's like the main thing is for me to feel good. The main thing is for me to be comfortable. But really the things that fix me the most, the things that strengthen me the most, that nourish me the most, are the things that challenge me the most. Are the things that I had to fight through and work through. And so, I thought about like that 24-hour hike, You know, like, man, I think that would be awesome. I think that, you know, I'd love that. And like Brett, you'd said something happens to you. You know, they say you don't know what it is, but something happens. It's probably you die. But I was like,
well, besides that,
that's probably what it is. No, I think you probably just have to, like, you have to break past this wall that is within your own mind, that is within yourself, of this place that you get to where you're like, I can't do this. I can't
And
keep
then
going.
you have to go further.
But you have to.
Yep.
And so once you do, it's like you realize that your body can do more than you ever thought it could, and your spirit could do more than you ever thought it could.
Yeah.
Because without the spirit, you couldn't have pushed past that wall. Because it was a barrier within your mind. You know, it was your body telling you something and your mind believing it, and your mind saying, no, body, I'm not listening to you.
yeah,
I'm doing this. You know, and so it cultivates this strength inside of you that was there, that you didn't realize was there, you didn't have before. And especially when you come at it and you're asking the Father through his Holy Spirit to strengthen you through that.
yeah.
It's like, not only do you realize something within yourself, but you have this trust in the Father that you didn't have before, realizing the strength that he can give you.
Well, look at the quality of time you can have too with God. If you're doing, like, for me, I have to be doing it by myself, but I mean, like walking out there and just experiencing that. I don't know how many times I've walked out in the property. I'm just like, man, thank you, God, that I've got this opportunity to live here. I've always dreamed of being able to go out my front door or back door and be in the woods. And I'm living that now. Like I'm living out in the sticks, and I absolutely love it. I can go walk around the property, and once again, you never know if you're going to walk down this trail and there's like a turkey going to run across, or a deer going to run across, or, you know, you just don't know. And it's an adventure going out there and doing that. And I love it, man. I absolutely love it. But that's a quality time too with God that you can just spend talking with Him and praising and worshiping Him, really, and just saying, God, like, I recognize the gifts that you're giving me, and I'm so thankful for them. And it's just it's a healing, I guess you could say it's like a healing thing and a physical.
Yeah. And it'll renew, you know, renew you.
Yeah.
Your soul, your spirit, you know, and kind of like what you were saying with that quote. And I would add one more thing, that we constantly are trying to make everything comfortable and all those things you said. One more is safe.
Yeah.
You know, we need to do dangerous stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
we miss the point if we don't.
yeah. And like I said at the beginning of this podcast, is I want to live.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, that's a wild
living
heart
a life
book.
of safety is not living.
Yeah.
You know,
Getting
John
in your
Eldridge
bubble and
talks a lot
living
about
a
that.
long life is
Yeah.
not. I mean, you were alive for a long time, but did you live?
Yeah.
Though?
y'all ever seen the movie Secondhand Lines?
Oh, I
No,
love
but
that
you've asked
movie.
me about it, and I still haven't seen it.
You know, at the very end of the movie, this guy, these two brothers who have done all these things, fought in the world wars, and just had a crazy life. At the end of the movie, this guy comes up and confirms that those stories are true. And his son says, those two guys from your story really lived? And the guy that was related to them, he said, yes, they did. They really lived. It's kind of a kid's movie, but that really made an impact on me.
Yeah.
That's
You know,
one of those that that's one of those movies every boy needs to see,
Yep.
but I think every man does too. If
Yeah.
you're a man and you hadn't seen that yet, because I mean, we talked about sticks, you know,
Yeah.
on here. And it's like, even just those like boyhood memories of remembering how, like, I mean, just majestic and amazing sticks can be to
Yeah.
your imagination as a boy,
Yeah.
brings you back. And so you need to be brought back to boyhood and stuff. I mean, that's why, I mean, like, grown men still read, you know, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer
Yeah.
and stuff, you know, I mean, it takes you back to that, you know, that spirit that you can't lose. You know, it makes me think about, Jesus talking about having the faith of a child.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you've got to be able to go back to that childlike wonder, even in your faith, you know?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
So So then, as a man with a bunch of kids, what like reading John Eldridge's Wild at Heart, they talk about rock climbing and all this stuff. I ain't about to go out there and be hanging off some cliff, doing all that kind of craziness.
Why not?
It's like
sign me up.
because I value my life more than that. I guess
Well, you're
I
tied
don't
to
know,
a
man.
rope.
Look, man, I have an issue with heights as it is.
I do too.
And I don't know. I'm like, if I die, who's going to raise my kids?
I will throw chum out here and swim with the sharks, but by golly, you get me up tall.
Maybe that's just what it is. I was saying there's got to be a balance too in this adventure taking and risk taking in life, because I want to live a life, and you can still live a life without having to do all these extremely dangerous, insane activities. I mean,
You got to make judgment calls, because, like, I do think about things where I'm like, what? I mean, in honesty here, I mean, like, we're being funny with a lot of this, but in all honesty, like, as far as things that I'm scared of, like, one of my biggest fears is my kids growing up without me.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I had a really, really close near car wreck one day, where I'm coming around a pretty sharp curve and a school bus is on my side of the road, and I had to get off on the ditch, and I saw the whites of that man's eyes.
Wow.
And it just and we were both going fast, and it was like, it was very close, and it just got me to thinking, I think it may have just been Lael at the time. And like, it broke my heart thinking about, like, if I'd have died in a car wreck right there, and she was very young. I mean, maybe 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, like, she wouldn't remember me.
Yeah.
And like, so that's just heartbreaking to me.
Yeah.
When I think about me and my kids having those kind of adventures together.
Yeah.
Us doing that sort of stuff together. And so, the thought of, like, me leaving my kids behind, and them not knowing me, like, that's terrifying to me. So you do have to make judgment calls of like, is this worth the risk right here?
Yeah, you do.
But on the other end of that, though, is it worth you not getting this edification of your soul that you needed, that's going to turn you into a better man for your family?
Yeah,
because you refuse
climbing
to
a
do
cliff
that
isn't
thing.
going to be that life-changing thing. It could,
Well,
it could be
it might be, though.
life-ending.
So-
It might be, though. It might be the thing.
Let me push back a little bit, because you're right. You do have to make a judgment call. Like, do I want to do a backflip off this 100-foot rock? But if you go with a guy who knows what he's doing, climbing a rock, these ropes will hold up a car.
Yeah.
You're not going to go anywhere.
I'm not going to go anywhere because I'm not going on that.
But so then you're
Smart
only
man.
facing your fear. Is it real? Is the danger real? Or is it just your fear? That's what you have to decide.
Yeah, well,
In that case, if you go with somebody, of course, there's always a possibility, just like there's a possibility you kiss the front end of a bus around a curve. The possibility is always there.
yeah.
But if you go with somebody who knows what they're doing, I've done it one time, and I was terrified, absolutely terrified. But you're tied off in 3 different ways. This thing has to fail 3 times before you're ever going to fall. So, logically, it's not going to happen. Most likely.
It's one of those things, too. It's kind of like people who are scared to fly.
Yeah.
They refuse to get on an airplane and everything, but they're just fine with driving, all over the place every day.
Right.
Why you got to be
one of those
talking to me about me like that?
It's one of those things
I
where
don't fly either.
you are so much more likely to die in a car wreck than you are in an airplane crash.
Yeah.
And the truth just is exemplified even, more, expanded even more when it comes to, like, rock climbing with a professional. I ain't saying, like, go out there and be like, hey, I'm going to free solo this wall right here with nothing attached to me.
That's different.
Yeah, that's a totally different thing.
Yeah.
But you go out and you're on, like, I mean, it's kind of like saying, well, I refuse to go walk out in a national park because there's bears out there.
I'll see, now that doesn't worry me as much.
Yeah, and see, like, well, you're probably a lot more likely to get eaten by a bear walking through a national park than you are falling
Question.
from a rock with a professional up there, So
Question. what kind of bear is best?
Black bear.
Well, that's
debatable.
there's several schools of thought.
I mean, and so in Florida, when we'd ride around in the Ocala National Forest, we come up on black bears all the time, and they just run off.
My dad has them on the back. They come up on his back porch all the time.
Yeah, but I mean, do I want to go walking around in grizzly country? Yeah, if I have a gun, and it's a big gun. Dude, so I mean, if I have a sense
how big those things are,
I know.
Like we see them on TV. I've never seen one in person.
I haven't either.
But just like when they describe them, some of them when they stand upright, I mean, they're.
So I'm just saying, I would be more likely to go do that than hang off the side of a cliff.
So climb the cliff with a gun. Problem solved.
So what
they tell you if you ever see a bear, try to be bigger than it is. And we're gonna say big old 8-foot grizzly. Rawr.
I'm about to bring Blake
scare him
with me.
off. Watch. Have you watched them things fight? Like videos of grizzly bears fighting?
Yeah.
Those things are vicious.
Yeah, they're insane. So let's go walking in black bear country. I ain't scared of them. I used to do that all the time. That wasn't a big deal.
But so like you step back and look at what the risk is. The risk in doing this rock climb with somebody who knows what they're doing versus, the risk that you take driving down the road or whatever, the everyday risk you take, and then you figure out, is it really the risk of dying is why I'm not doing this, or is it because I'm afraid of doing this? If it's because you're afraid, then you're letting fear dictate your choices in life.
Yeah,
I would advise you to do it.
Well, I probably won't. I'll probably disregard your advice, but appreciate it anyway.
Does that make sense?
Who knows? I mean,
it does make sense.
Okay.
It sounds a lot
I'm
like
not
we're
gonna
trying
say,
to talk you into something.
I know. I want to go climb that cliff so we can get done talking about this stuff.
But I think that's the point that Brett's getting at there is like sometimes the things that do scare us that we really don't want to do are
what you need to do.
The very things that we do need to do, And I mean, like if it's something that it's like, well, I just don't find that interesting or I just don't find that fun or enjoyable or anything like that, Well, I mean, you don't want to go into something half-heartedly with like, I just really don't want to. But if it's like man, I wonder what that's like, but I'm too scared to sort of thing.
I don't really wonder what it's like to climb a rock.
Right.
Yeah. So
like it doesn't excite me.
Yeah.
But something that does, be honest though, like something that does like, flying in an airplane, I've never done it, and it does scare me. I don't know why. It's just something that does. But I did tell Brett, like, when you go flying and you got extra room, I'll go with you just to conquer something. Yeah. And that seems stupid.
No,
I mean,
it doesn't.
Barrel roll.
I disagree.
Yeah, if he starts doing barrel rolls, I'm going to crap my pants. I'm not jumping out of the airplane.
If you crap your pants, I'm going to throw up. And then we're going to...
This is going to be a crappy, pukey mess.
And we are going to eat it so hard, they'll write about it in the papers for years.
Y'all be sure you set up a
Upon the arrival of the scene.
The only reason they wrecked is because Jared crapped his pants and Brett threw up.
Y'all set up a GoPro in the cockpit before y'all take off, so we get this whole thing.
Here are their final moments. Here are the final moments of these.
Throwing up.
That's insane.
Idiot.
I would only crap my pants if you started doing barrel rolls, not just regular flying. But that's something that's in my mind is really stupid to be afraid to do is fly. But it's something I've never done, and the fact that I don't have control of it nerves me out. So that's something that I am willing to give a try.
So it's the same
awesome,
thing, that's exactly what we're talking about, and.
I mean, it scares me to rob a bank, but I don't plan on doing that.
Yeah, you don't care about climbing the rock. That's fine. You kind of want to go fly. You're kind of scared of it, but you're going to push past that fear. That's the whole point. Yeah. It doesn't mean that you have to climb the rock.
Well, you sure were pressuring me into doing it.
It just means,
just
all
like
I'm
coffee.
saying is we need to exercise the skill to be able to push past our fear.
Yeah, don't let fear. Yeah. It's like, honestly, too, climbing ladders.
I'm scared to death of ladders.
I get 20 feet in the air and the ladder's moving around.
Me too. No, I climb like ladders all day for a living.
Well, and that's the thing. So, you talk about doing things and then pushing past that fear, and eventually it's not a big deal. But honestly, I've been climbing ladders for years. I mean, painting houses or repairing dry rotted fascia on houses and stuff like that, you have to climb ladders. And especially here, a lot of houses are on hills. So you might be in the front yard and the house is just like normal height. Well, you get in the backyard, now it's three times higher. Yeah. And you have to get up there and you have to do it. And you don't really have a choice. So I climb the ladder and I do my thing. And it's up there shaking. And I'm like, nerved out about it the whole time because I don't want to hit the ground. Yeah. Like, I know what it's like to have broken bones and it sucks. And I don't want to be there again. And it's like I have a rod in my leg. If that leg was to break again, they'd probably just have to take it off. I don't even know what would happen. But, I think it's
just bend.
What's the point of the rod if you can break it again? I'd be like, well, I'm invincible now.
Maybe. I don't know.
Bionic.
I don't know. It's a titanium rod. I don't know. I just feel like it would destroy my leg. Either way, stupid stuff that I think about, and I get up there, I'm like, man, this thing's shaking, and it's like the ladder shifts or something. I used to watch my dad get the top of a 20-foot ladder and then shimmy that thing over a foot or so one way and a foot or so the other way. I'm like, what are you doing, Dad? And he just laughs.
I've seen people do that too. And crap.
Yeah, so that's something for me too. I don't know that it's a fear of heights because I can be on top of a high-rise building and look over and it's okay, but I'm on a firm foundation knowing that I'm not
like looking. I mean, I don't know. Like, I'll get up on a high ladder. I'll get up on a rooftop and walk around. I don't know, but
if I'm on something stable, I'm not as bothered by it as if. So I heard somebody say that it's a fear of falling over a fear of heights. Yeah. I don't mind being high up if what I'm standing on is sturdy, and I can be 20. And that's the thing too. Like with the ladders, you know how you've got like as the ladder goes up, you've got 2 steps, but it eventually gets to that single again. Mm-hmm. Like as long as I'm on the double step, I'm not as bothered by it. It's getting over that double step onto the single steps. Now I'm like, oh crap. It's stupid. And I've climbed ladders so many times you would think I'd be over it. But for whatever reason, I'm just like, man, I don't know, this might be my last day on earth. I don't know. It's so stupid. You're getting 20, 25 feet, 30 feet in the air. It's like, man, my stepdad, he's got like a 32-foot fiberglass extension ladder I've had to use before. And it's a pretty sturdy ladder. So I can get higher on that and not be as nerved out. It's that wobbling and shaking. And my dad always had these little skinny metal extension ladders that just, they shake and it seems like they sway 6 inches each way. Man, I just ain't a fan. But he'd be up there laughing, just shimmying and over this way, shimmying that way. I'm like, whatever, Dad. Like, and I don't know whatever created that fear in me, but I just always had a struggle.
I was born with it, I reckon.
Yeah, being up on ladder. But, going back to doing the adventurous stuff and the point of bringing up, once you have kids, like since I've had kids, I've realized that I do have an obligation or whatever you want to say to my kids and raising them, make sure I'm present for them. And it's like, now I have to think about the things that I'm doing. Is it necessary to go climb a cliff? Is it necessary now to overcome that fear? Or, how are you going to use that practically in your life? Like, if you really feel deep down inside, like you have to overcome this to get to another level in your life, well, then do it. But for me, I don't. It probably would be somewhat life changing. I don't know, but it's not important enough to me to say I have to go climb this cliff that's however many hundreds of feet high to prove something.
No, it would be more you're facing that fear.
Yeah,
that would be what you.
And I do think it's important to face your fears. You got to. That's on our opening. Face our fears, get out of our comfort zones, and I don't have to climb. I don't have to climb a cliff to get out of my comfort zone. Just climb a stinking ladder.
But then you testified there that you constantly do by going up the ladder.
Yeah,
you could say, well, hey, this just ain't the job for me because I'm too uncomfortable with that ladder.
I've considered turning down jobs. Due to heights of things. Because honestly, if I get up on a boom lift, I've been 30, 40 some odd feet in the air with a boom lift, and I'm like, holy crap, because this thing's swaying around, the wind blows you.
I was about to say that's one of the scariest moments I had was in a boom lift. Having it like fully extended, nearly straight up in the air on a windy day, and it's just shaking back and forth, and you're just like, I gotta get this job done, or I'm not getting paid. So I gotta just go.
I remember
I wouldn't have got paid.
My stepdad years ago. My stepdad got one of them boom lifts from Home Depot. I think it went like, 30 feet in the air or something. And he put that, he's like, hey, Jared, come on, hop on real quick. I'm going to show you something. And my stepdad always drank. So he was always under a intoxicated mindset. But that's how he functioned. It was unbelievable. But either way, so Here we go. We get on. I'm like, okay. He takes me up, and I'm thinking, oh, we'll be all right. Well, he gets that thing straight up in the air and then starts shaking, like grabs the bar and shaking like a crazy person. I'm like, Dave, we're fixing to die. You're going to dump us over. We're going to be dead. And he's laughing at me. But when we stopped shaking and I regained my consciousness again, like looking out over the area was like, oh, this is really cool. But
I would have tilted it for you.
He's just
to mess with you.
He was just crazy like that. But it taught me that I'm safe. This isn't going to fall over that easy. Otherwise, they wouldn't allow it to go that high. But still, I can't get past being terrified of being way up there, nothing flopping around.
Yeah.
It's just kind of
So
crazy.
I was in a bucket truck at like 45 feet in there, something like that. And you say 45 feet, and it doesn't seem like it's
It don't
that
seem
bad.
Not until you're up there.
When you're in a really unstable feeling bucket thing, though, like scariest one I had heights wise though was there was one where I was like, man, I needed to make some money, and I had it was an interstate crossing. The fiber cable was set way up high over an interstate crossing, and my ladder couldn't reach it. At a 32-foot ladder that couldn't reach it. Like I was standing on top of the ladder, just hugging the pole on the very top of the ladder, reaching, and I was still like 5 to 10 feet short.
Good grief.
And so I had climbing hooks, and I climbed that thing. Like it was nothing but hooks and a belt that wrapped around it. So I'm just got them hooks strapped to my feet, climbing up this thing. And it took me a while to get up there because I'd have to stop and just like gather myself.
Is it a wood pole?
And then keep on going back up. And I got up there and finally got it. I was probably at around 40 to 45 feet, but you talking about when I got back on that ground. Like
land.
Yes. You talking about like I understood the people who want to just kiss the ground, and stuff.
I was going to ask you if you kissed it. I probably
I did, and
would have.
I just felt like I was. I think I actually did touch it.
You're talking
though.
about
Like,
the
I put
ground's
my
what would have
hand
killed
on it,
you.
like-
Right. It's not the fall that kills you, it's the
It's
landing.
the landing, yeah.
I was so happy to softly touch that.
It's a
ground
sudden
when I did.
stop.
Just grab it. I was like, oh,
Man. Yeah, no thank you. I'd be like, I'm turning that job down.
Do you know what's crazy is I think I would feel more comfortable like that than I would in the boom
Really?
Yeah.
because that pole ain't going nowhere. And as you got that thing on your belt, if you fall, you're just going to kind of eat the side of that pole.
I'll say I didn't have that.
You didn't?
I literally had my belt strap that goes around that's just holding tension between.
Was
my-
it big?
It's just like a belt, like a leather belt strap.
Yeah. Would you
essentially is what
slide
it is.
though down?
No,
it
it's like
you
if I
fell?
broke out, like you would have to hug the pole.
Oh yeah.
Like there's no, they have what's called and that may be the brand, I'm not sure, but they have what's called a buck squeeze. That it's like the rig that it wraps around the whole pole, and you got to slide it up with you. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
kind of tight
That's
on
what
it.
I was talking
And it's
about.
like if your foot breaks out or whatever, if your hook breaks out of that pole, you'll just,
You're
you'll
just
just be
gonna
hanging
eat
there.
the
It's just
pole.
going to catch
Yeah.
you by the belt, and you're
Yeah.
just going to hang there until you can get your hook
Yeah.
set back in.
That's what I was talking about.
I foolishly didn't have one of those because they're expensive.
Dang.
Yeah, so I shouldn't. I shouldn't have been climbing that pole like that. In all honesty, but I did.
It
And
makes
because
you
I
think.
broke out, I've only broke out to where I fell one time, and I didn't actually fall all the way down because, like, I don't remember grabbing it, but I was right next. I was climbing up to an existing fiber optic splice that was already there, and so they're on these metal racks, and I don't remember grabbing it, but it's like I broke out, and I'm just like, next thing I remember, I'm just hanging there. I've got my arm wrapped around it by my forearm here.
No
And I'm
way.
just hanging there, and I'm panicking. It would have been so like if someone was watching me, they'd have been laughing at me because I'm just sitting there slinging my legs up against the pole, trying to get a hook to go in and everything. And I finally had to, okay, calm down, set the hook, and
Yeah.
get back in the pole.
That's the thing. Panic, man.
Yeah.
Panic
Yeah.
will just wreck everything.
Absolutely.
Everything gets worse.
Imagine being an iron worker in New York on them super huge high rises where
Oh,
they're
gosh.
walking with hardly any. Way back in the day, they probably didn't have much protection at all. Any wall
No,
protection.
them guys just
Now they
fall
do.
and they'd hire somebody else
Well, Johnny's dead. Let's get a new one.
before they hit
them
the
guys-
ground. They got somebody
Talk
coming
about
back up.
courage. That takes. You couldn't. I don't care. You could hold a gun to my head. I'd say shoot me because I'm not getting up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
What if your family was starving?
That's what those guys were thinking. Like,
Yep.
we're eating dirt. Let's face the facts. If your family's starving, you can find something for them. You go shoot a squirrel or something. At some point, you think you could.
You're trying to find something like you're not thinking. Those guys weren't thinking like, oh, I need to feed them tonight. Though they're thinking like, I need this job that's going to keep on going and going because I'm going to feed them for years.
I would move to a new town and
off
start a new
this,
job.
Well, they moved.
it's like
They
a-
moved there.
Like the Hoover
so that they
Dam.
didn't starve somewhere else, you know.
Like the
Yeah,
Hoover
Jared.
Dam, you know,
Excuse
it was
me.
during the Depression,
Yeah.
and them guys were dying like crazy
Depression.
when they built that. But you know, you got to feed your family.
And some guys did that stuff out of a sense of adventure. You know, some of them did it out of I'm going to prove myself. You know, and some of them did it out of I'm just going to feed my family. I've got to.
Some
You know,
were
this
just
is
idiots.
survive. You know.
Pure insanity. No, thank you.
But at the end of the day, though, men need to do something that challenges them.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
you got to have something that drives you forward. That's a goal. That's like, man, I need to get here. Whether it's like I need to get to a certain weight, or I need to be able to lift a certain amount of weight, or I need to be able to complete this Murph challenge, you know, or I need to be able to walk that 24-hour hike. You know, that I have this goal. Like, first of all, good to be healthy, just to be able to like if you're not in good enough physical shape, how can you protect your kids? How can you protect your bride?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, how can you live a healthy, desirable life that someone else looks at it and say, I want to be that guy? If you're a comfortable, lazy slob, and I mean, like, people aren't inspired by that.
Well, not
People
only
don't look at that
that-
and say, "Oh, I want that. That looks
Yeah.
great." You know, it's more like something you fall into.
Not only that, but the comment I made earlier in the podcast of I want to live a long, healthy life. Like, whatever length of time I'm alive, I want to be healthy. I want to be capable of spending time with my kids, doing stuff, doing activities. You know, if I continue down the path that I am of drinking a lot of sugary stuff and eating a lot of bad food, at some point I'm going to be alive, but I'm going to be so unhealthy that I'm not capable of doing those activities, doing it. Like, I would be sick. Like, so many people spend so much time in the hospital because they're sick or they're constantly. What are you laughing about?
I just watched a bird take a dump on Brett's mirror. I sat there and watched him.
Wow.
And he did.
Is that Monsters versus Aliens? Like, would you come
Man.
on? Sorry, I was just watching that.
Let me
bird
guess, is it
over
a
there.
cardinal?
No, it's like I don't know what kind of bird it is.
Oh.
It's a brown
Either-
one.
It's like right in the middle of the serious, deep.
Yeah, I know.
He's like,
I got distracted. I'm out of it.
Freaking Blake.
Hat bird poop.
Blake's off in outer space.
Hat.
But I mean,
You're
you know,
welcome.
so, you know, living a long life, you could be totally not capable of doing anything. You're sick all the time or weak or, you know, whatever. I want to be able to be active. Like, my dad is 80 years old and he just got done building a 30 by 12 deck by himself. I want to be able to do that at 80 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But if I'm continuing down this path, I'm going to be the old guy sitting in a rocking chair, not able to do anything because I'm fat, slob, and can't do anything because I've just given up. I quit caring about my health. I quit caring about challenging myself even. And I'm just a fat, lazy slob, and I don't want to become that. I mean, I'm capable of doing a lot of stuff now. I'm a little bit overweight, but I want to get that under control and be like, you know, okay, I'm a lot overweight. I'm only like, good grief, I'm only 230 pounds. Give me a break.
Just,
I mean,
I laugh because my mind's got 100 different things going through it. I thought of an Office reference when you were talking
Office.
when you were talking bad about yourself. But
let's
continue.
hear it. No, let's hear it, Blake.
Well, there's just an episode where Jim is messing with Andy, and he's like being hard on himself, and Andy's like, "Don't talk to my friend that way." Or something.
Oh, yeah.
Don't talk.
But you even know what he's talking about, Brett?
Heck yeah, I love The Office.
Don't talk to my friend Jared that way.
He's sensitive.
Big tuna over there.
I don't even. You know, I can't with you guys.
My first day at work, I brought a tuna sandwich to work, and he's
Who
called
eats
me
tuna. Tuna's disgusting.
No, it's not.
Disgusting.
Your face is disgusting.
It is, but you know, my wife likes it, and that's all.
Finish
that
talking
matters.
about what you want to talk
I
about.
don't even know because
Great.
you and your Office comments. And
Hey,
I
you
think I'm
could have
the
kept
only
talking.
person in America that doesn't watch The Office, and you would think I would have the highest.
You're just
intelligence level
un-American,
around,
dude.
but
You don't do anything. You don't drink coffee.
I shoot
you don't-
guns. I hunt. I walk through the woods.
When you're not being lazy. That's what you said. Those are your words, not mine.
You know, I think we're gonna delete Blake off of this podcast. It will be a me and
That's
Brett
fine.
podcast. You know,
Blake's
it was
getting
gonna be
fired.
me and you,
Thank you.
But
And Blake, as the editor, would you mind deleting yourself off the podcast?
And the thing is, it's just one click away. Click or 2 clicks.
you know,
click,
I think
click.
it's just going to be a Jared. This is just going to be the Forging Jared podcast.
That'll be fine.
Tired of your guys' nonsense. Whatever. So
The hardest thing about the working out stuff is finding the time, which is the hardest thing with anything for me,
Yeah.
is finding the time.
I feel like I can find the time. I'm just too lazy to utilize that.
That's me.
time.
I think
I'm-
with most things,
I'm-
it's making the time. You know, it's
Yeah.
it's like there's time there, but like if we sat down and wrote down all the time we wasted, you know, I'm counting me in this. If I just counted the time that I was just doing just garbage
Yeah.
stuff, you know, it's like, man, and I'm glad that I have gotten rid of a lot of that. You know, I watch so much less TV than I used to.
Yeah, me
like
too.
we don't like we've got like a couple of super cheap streaming services, you know, that like don't get a lot of mileage
Yeah.
on them, you know, and like that has brought so much more value to my life that
Mhm.
to where I'm like, you know what, having the mentality of like, hey, I don't want my kids to see me on the phone. Like I'd
Yeah.
rather them see me reading or something like
Yeah.
that, like we talked about before.
Yeah.
But also like put it down and play with them. Like I need to
Mhm.
put this thing down and
And
play
spend
with my kids.
Quality
You know, it's
time
like,
with your kids.
just sitting in the floor. Like as a dad, if you have small kids, lay down in the floor and see what happens.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, all of a sudden it's like
Everybody's piling on top
your
of
You're
it.
a
kids-
trampoline now.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes.
And if your kids are light enough, you get a pretty decent back massage out of it
Yep.
too. You know,
I've done it on purpose
yeah.
before. When my back was sore, I'll just lay down on the floor and say, "Hey, kids."
Well, my
And
problem
here
is
they come.
Yep.
by the time all 6 of them climb on my back, it feels as if it's broken.
Yeah.
Your kids
Off
are
my
older.
head.
So one at a time, guys, and it'll be okay.
Yeah. like Remy would be perfect. Like, hey Remy, just walk on my back. Like,
Yeah.
like she's at that perfect.
Asher and
weight
Balor's
right
like
there.
that for me. They're just walking all over my back. It feels great.
Yeah.
And then you start throwing them around, and it ain't too long before you got a Royal Rumble right there. In
Yeah.
Hey, and you get
Floor.
get some good exercise
Yeah.
out of it
That's
too.
it. Yeah,
you
so
know?
you should
I mean,
exercise. Back to exercising.
That's what I remember, especially Lael, because I was more into working out at that time when she was first born. And so, like, I'd take her, like, even as a baby, you know, and just, like, lay on the floor and do, like,
Push-ups.
I'd do push-ups over top of her. And
I do that with
bases,
Shelby.
and she'd like, just lift her up above your head, like, lay on, because I'd lay on my back with Lael and just keep on lifting her, and she'd think it was funny, you know, so it's like you're bench pressing, but it's like...
You do that with Shelby. Huh? And
I
that's-
have.
And that's how
I
Louise
have
came
bench
about.
bench pressed her.
Yeah. Push-ups too. Hey,
Oh,
we're married.
That's
Okay,
it. You got a license.
we're married,
Yeah,
Jack.
now.
We got a license. We're certified.
Oh man, that's awesome. But
Hey, Jesus made it.
that's it. Yeah.
true.
Who am I to deny
That's right.
what God created?
Be
Well, we
fruit-
didn't get into scripture or
Be
anything.
fruitful and
One
multiply.
time in this podcast.
Hour and 12
I have
minutes.
one real
in.
quick. We can tack it on right here at the end because in Hebrews 12 it says starting at verse 1, therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is seated at the right hand of the throne of God. And so if we can, I think part of cultivating our physical endurance, you know, and that coincides with cultivating our spirit.
Yeah, I agree.
So, I mean, if you can discipline yourself in something in your life, you starting to discipline your exercise, starting to accept a challenge, you know, you challenging yourself on something, it's going to affect, I mean, our body and our soul work together. So
Yeah.
it's going to affect your soul too. And so, and especially if you could take that mindset and say, hey, you know, that way that I started getting up and doing, you know, 50 push-ups, you know, in the morning. Like, you know, I did just do 2 sets of 25 push-ups. You know, it's like I started off with that, and I've said, hey, I can do that. Well, I can read a half a chapter of scripture, you know, and study on that and look on that and everything, you know, and flip the pages a little bit and read a little bit deeper. Maybe Google it and see what Google has to say about it, you know. I mean, find a couple of different resources. And suddenly you've disciplined yourself and challenged yourself to say, hey, I can cultivate a habit. You know, I can start this habit to where I do a little bit of working out and I do a little bit of spiritual working out, and just see the way that it transforms your life, the way that you live your life.
Yeah. So we need to get out of our comfort zone. Like I say in the opening, like challenge yourself with something. It's gonna lead to even more fulfilling and exciting life too. And quit being lazy, quit being, and I'm speaking to me just as much. Like I get comfortable and I don't want to get uncomfortable. And sometimes being uncomfortable is a good thing. And
we need to plan that float trip.
Yeah,
camp.
We do.
Camp on it.
Yeah,
I'm about it.
Yeah, well, it's probably going to have to be after I get back from Florida.
When's that going to be?
Supposed to be leaving Friday.
July.
So it would be in July, yeah. We'll just have to camp out in the heat. It's okay. We can handle it.
I've
done it a bunch in Florida.
We'll be right by the water.
Oh, that's horrible.
We'll leave you at home then, Brett. Get out of your comfort zone, Brett.
I'll go.
He wants AC kicking.
You just ain't going to sleep.
I will. I'll sleep like a baby. Dude, we used to camp out in Ocala National Forest in the hot summer days. You know, you get tired enough, you sleep. Doesn't matter how hot it is. You wake up sweaty and you just...
I disagree.
Well,
I can do it.
I can do it.
I'll bring one of those little battery-powered fans.
Yeah, bring a little fan. I mean,
20-pack of double A's.
Yeah, you want some air running, but I mean, you know, it's all right. Get out of your comfort zone, Brad. It'll be okay. But I think it would be fun. We need to do that. And I know we've been talking a bunch.
Get a cooler, fill it with ice.
How many people listen to this?
I don't know.
We've had 700 listening.
700 downloads.
700 downloads.
Blink twice if you're listening.
I wonder if there are people out there who'd like to go with us.
Hey, I mean, there's a lot of people locally that listen to us. We're at 768 downloads. I don't know what that means for listens, but downloads, 768. And that's from all across the U.S. Got one in Australia and one in Philippines. So I don't know how Buzzsprout works. I don't know if that means that's the only amount of listens at all, or if that's just the amount of people that downloaded and there's other people that listen. But and every week we go up, 40 some odd listeners sometimes. So
there's pretty much 40 people that's listening to us,
or additional downloads and stuff. So I don't know how that thing works, but we got at least 768 people listening at some point, I guess, maybe more. So there's a few people. I mean, we gotta do better.
People will be a lot on a kayak trip.
That'd be awesome. I don't think that. I mean, there's people that live in Washington and New York and California. They're probably not going to come kayak with us. I don't think we're that cool yet, but maybe one day. I mean, I know 3 of 7. They got people coming from all over the place to hang out with them. But maybe one day we'll be cool enough to have that. But yeah, I mean, if anybody locally is listening and wants to do a float trip on the Bear Creek and do a camp out, shoot us an email, shoot us a message. A lot of them people probably know us. So they can shoot us a text message. And whatever. Get out of your comfort zone. Stop being lazy. Go out and have fun. And I think that's it. I think we had enough to say there. And we love you guys and we appreciate you. And we out.
Demetric.
Oh, yeah. Shout out Demetric. Bye.
Thank you guys for listening. Check us out on Facebook or Instagram and follow us so you can stay up to date with latest podcast drops and content. Also, feel free to leave us a review on whatever streaming platform you're listening from. We'll catch you next week.